Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something really cool, a blueprint for the modern data center. It's called VMware Cloud Foundation. So let's just kick things off with a big question. Imagine this. What if you could build your private cloud using a detailed step-by-step blueprint instead of, getting a big box of random parts and just hoping for the best?
And to really get why a blueprint like this is so important, we have to talk about something I'm sure many of you have felt, the data center dilemma. I mean, why is managing IT infrastructure so complicated all the time?
Okay, so this slide really nails the difference. On one side, you've got the old way, right? Siloed infrastructure. You know the drill. The network team, the storage team, the server team, they're all in their own little worlds, using their own tools, and honestly, it just creates a ton of friction. But then, look at the other side. That's the private cloud model. That's where everything is managed as one single standardized and automated system. It's a total game changer.
And that siloed way of doing things, it leads to some seriously painful problems. We're talking about real operational risks here. You get configuration drift, where systems just become different over time, all on their own. Or my favorite, lifecycle inconsistency, which is a fancy way of saying you upgrade the network and bam, the storage breaks. It's just a constant cycle of one-off, ad hoc fixes, and the result is totally unpredictable. You have no idea if you can actually guarantee performance or support.
So, how do we get out of this mess? How do we solve all this chaos? Well, that's exactly where this blueprint comes in. We're talking about VMware Cloud Foundation, or VCF for short.
All right, so what is VCF really? It's super important to get this. It's not just another virtualization product. Nope. This is a full-stack, totally integrated cloud platform. It takes all the software-defined stuff, compute, storage, networking, and wraps it all up with automated lifecycle management. It is, quite literally, the whole shebang.
And this quote right here, it just sums it up perfectly. The primary value is an integrated private cloud with an automated lifecycle. What does that actually mean? It means making the entire stack work together like one big, predictable, automated machine. That's the goal.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now for the fun part. How does this blueprint actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the VCF architecture.
So at its core, you've got the components you probably know. vCenter for your compute, NSX for your networking, and vSAN for storage. But the real magic, the thing that brings it all together, is that piece at the top, the SDDC Manager. Think of it as the conductor of the orchestra. It's the component that deploys everything and then manages its entire lifecycle.
And that's exactly why we call the SDDC Manager the brains of the whole operation. It's that single control panel that enforces the blueprint. It makes sure every piece is deployed just right and, crucially, that they all get updated together in a tested, validated way. It basically hides all that nasty complexity of managing the lifecycle of your infrastructure.
Now, architecturally, VCF is built on this really important idea of domains. First up, you have the management domain. You have to have this one. It's the foundation. Think of it like the cockpit of an airplane. It runs all the core controls for the entire VCF environment. Then, you create what are called workload domains, and these are totally separate, isolated bubbles where your actual applications live. This separation is so key because it means if something goes wrong with an app, it can't take down your management plane. It's a huge boost for security and just overall stability.
All right, we've seen the architecture. Now for the big question. What's the payoff? Why does any of this blueprint stuff actually matter to a business?
It all boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful goal: operational consistency. The entire point is to give you an experience that is predictable, repeatable, and supportable every single time. No more winging it, no more guesswork.
And that one goal delivers value in 4 really clear ways. You get consistency, because everything is built to a specific, validated standard. You get automation, which handles all the tedious stuff, from day one deployment all the way to patching it updates, which just kills manual errors. That automation naturally leads to agility. You can just move faster and deliver stuff to the business quicker. And finally, you get security that's baked right in, not bolted on later thanks to things like that workload isolation we just talked about.
So how does VCF actually pull this off? Well, it's not magic, right? It all comes back to strictly enforcing that validated design, the blueprint, and by treating all the infrastructure as one single unified fleet.
So VCF gives you this incredibly solid foundation. But what does that actually unlock? What becomes possible when you're not spending all your time putting out fires in the data center?
Well, for one, you can actually run modern applications with ease. VCF has Kubernetes built right into its core. This means your developers can spin up containerized workloads just as easily as they spin up traditional VMs, all on the same platform.
Plus, you can finally start using those modern developer-friendly workflows you've been hearing about. VCF plays nice with tools like Terraform, which lets you manage your entire private cloud as code. We're talking real GitOps here, version control, peer reviews, automated repeatable deployments, the whole 9 yards.
And because the platform is so robust, you can build some seriously resilient solutions. For instance, you can create stretched clusters that literally span across different data centers. This gives you site-level disaster recovery with zero data loss. Think about that for your most critical apps.
And all of this really leads us to one final thought. The whole point of VCF is to make infrastructure so consistent, so automated, that it just works. It becomes boring, in a good way. It just fades into the background so you can focus on what actually matters. So I'll leave you with this. When your infrastructure is no longer the problem, what will you build?